All right. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out this episode of Circus Time Review podcast. Where this episode and this week we'll be talking everything that is Hollywood's bad habits. So those of you watching live, go ahead and tweet any questions you have. We're trying to work on the live chat, so bear with us on that. But I want you to introduce my two guests that I have on today. The first guy has been branching out. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I've been running upstairs. The first guy, he's branching out his YouTube channel from movie reviews to weekly news updates to awesome movie trivia show, the Cine Clash. So we have Arturo from A2Z Show. Welcome.
Oh, thanks for having me on, man. He is out of breath because he got a call. He had to run downstairs to get the special Blu-ray box set or whatever it is that he got. So yeah, he's trying to recuperate himself right now. But no, hey, thanks, man, for having me on. We've been trying to get on the show, and then you finally got one where I had a night off, no screenings because I've been bombarded with screenings. But it's a topic that I'm not going to lie, I'm really excited to talk about, of how much we hate it.
Yes, I'm pumped. It's one of those things that is just lurking around our back of our heads. You always want to talk about these certain things. So now we finally get to rant and vent about all these things. So thanks for coming on. The next guy has been rocking out in LA. He's been doing the super high quality movie reviews and TV reviews. And he just announced an awesome Star Wars project that we'll talk about a little bit later. But we have Lindsey from My Two Cents of Nonsense. Welcome.
What's up, guys? Thank you so much for having me. I'm legitimately excited. This is my first podcast. Let's have some fun.
Nice. Well, I'm pumped too. I've told everybody before. I've talked to myself on a few podcasts, so it's finally time for me to talk to other people. So it's excited to have a little feedback and go back and forth. But just kind of jumping right into it, Hollywood bad habits. I mean, we've all been familiar with Hollywood for so long, growing up as kids, but we probably didn't notice all the bad habits, all the shit that was going on behind the scenes that were probably some bad things that Hollywood could have done better. But some of the things that I want to talk about, just kind of jumping into it, I guess a popular topic has been the reboots, remakes, and sequels. We've been getting a lot of them, a lot of things from the 80s and 90s, maybe a few things from like our parents' age. Seems like Hollywood's really riding that nostalgia wave. So what do you guys think of all the reboots, sequels, and remakes that are happening?
Love them. It's one of those things that, like if movie fans are automatically, you go, sequel to reboot, oh, it's bad. But, I mean, I think we all know Hollywood enough to know it's not always bad, but a majority of the time it is bad. It's like CGI. CGI isn't bad, but a majority of the time, many times it is done wrong. I think reboots and sequels can be a very good thing. I mean, Dark Knight's a sequel. The Departed is a remake. There's a lot of good things that are out there, and I know that a majority of the time, not to defend Hollywood, but it's what sells. People are comfortable with those things. That's why they will go out and see it, and that's, I know, their number one priority, to be able to get butts in seats. But still, it kind of gets convoluted with a lot of things that we've already seen before and just trying to come back.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, I get it. You're a business. I mean, you're an art, but you're a business. You want to make money, and like in the recent years, there's been a lot of, or just I guess all time, there's been original IPs, things that haven't been done before that seem like great ideas, and then they fall horribly flat. Hundreds of millions of dollars are just gone, and you don't want to go through with that. I do get it, but when you get to the point where you're like the Thing remake, and your movie is about showing how that axe got in the wall, or how that bird corpse got there.
Don't forget Memento, like, some of these,
oh my God,
not necessary.
Like, and who else could even do that one? Like, who else could play with time like Nolan does? Like,
plus, it's just the idea of, I remember going into Blockbusters and me going as a young lad, excuse me, sir, what do you recommend? And he'd be like, oh, there's this magical aisle right there with DVDs that you have yet to see, maybe some VHSs. And I remember being recommended Memento, not knowing anything about it, and going in there being like, wow, this is cinema. And now cinema, many of the times, has become just taking things that we loved and putting them again. And it's not always bad. There's some nostalgic things that they'll bring back. Star Wars is coming back, as another sequel. It's not always a bad, hopefully it's not always a bad thing. But like we said, there's some projects where you're like, why?
Well, just the last 2 weeks, there was Creed. And that was really
and I love that movie, yeah.
That movie's amazing.
But I guess it's just who handles it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true. I would agree. You're right. It all is who's handling it. And Lindsey and I were just talking right before we started here about Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones is one that he's lucky he hadn't seen it yet. But for everybody else who has, we would like to remember that we didn't see it, because George Lucas and Steven Spielberg just they're just going back to the wishing well, go back to the well, and kind of rehash some things that were awesome originally in the Indiana Jones, but added some things that just didn't mesh well with the Indiana Jones world, and so it took you out of the movie. And that's one of the few that I was like, man, why did they even try to go back to this one? But you're right, the established franchises, established fan bases, those are the go-to for Hollywood nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Really? Yeah.
So yeah, but talking more about a little bit more about the remakes. The other thing was talking about budgets. Budgets have been going crazy over the last few years. I mean, I think the first one I really thought was crazy when we heard like John Carter a few years back, when $150, $200 million.
That worked out well.
Yeah, and it's not working at all.
Book, like, holy crap! Like, where did that even come from? Why did they think that would be so? Anyway, sorry.
No, you're right. It's one of those. It's like, who's making these decisions? How's this inflation come so far? Where movies used to cost $20-30 million, now easily even a romantic comedy is like $30 million, $40 million now. So it's crazy that the budgets are getting so high, but the payoff is like the risk is higher too. But also like the MCU and like the Marvel and other franchises have paid off, that they're getting all their money back that they've put in. But there's been more than a few now the last few years, like the Lone Ranger, John Carter. Those ones are just super duds. That it's more or less just the risk of too high of a budget. What do you guys think?
Well, like you just brought up Marvel. There was that projected budget for
Avengers.
Yeah, exactly. $1 billion?
$1 billion! Really? Like, connecting it with what we just talked about, the budget for Batman v Superman, Marvel. If you've earned it, that's okay.
Yeah.
I think if you've earned it and you want to give the people a spectacle, and you're relying on those movies that are going to get butts and seats, give the people what they want. What the heck's a John Carter? Why would you spend so much on that?
And they left out like the most important title, like is that John Carter on Mars or something like that. So like that would have been intriguing, but they just put John Carter. That's it.
Yeah. Like, no one's gonna click on the link to the trailer to John Carter. Like, no one cares.
Also, like, it's not only the budgets that are so high, but the budget doesn't, because it's a production budget, doesn't even include the marketing. No. Sometimes that's what's scarier.
40% of the budget is the added on is the marketing.
If not more sometimes. Like, it's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Like, go ahead.
Sorry. Well, I was just going to say The Good Dinosaur, I tweeted earlier about that one. That one had a $200 million budget and just opened $39 million.
Not making it.
First head. Yeah.
It's cute for the record. I've been meaning to put up a thing about it. It's cute.
What, the fact that it made no money, or the movie itself?
Well, the movie itself. The fact that it's making so little money is adorable, and like how horrible it is. And like you just said a second ago about DC and earning it. Mm-hmm. Man of Steel didn't earn the $425 million budget that they've dropped on Batman v Superman.
That is true. That's true.
There were issues with Man of Steel's return, and they're dropping $430 million on this new one.
But they earned it. They just didn't use it right. I think that's the other thing, because you can have the money and then do who knows what with it. Because you give it to Marvel, Marvel's going to use it very smartly. Yeah. I don't know what they were thinking there, and that's why I'm a little bit worried and hoping that they do use it well for the upcoming movie for Batman v Superman. That's a whole other issue. Who you give it to? Because, I mean, DC beforehand, it was Nolan. Mm-hmm. And Nolan was known, I mean, even with Interstellar, not being, but it's still a big budget movie, where he returned money. He knew how to use his money. He's like, oh, yeah, thank you for letting me use this for making my dream project. Here you go. I don't need it. I don't need it. There you go. That's why Nolan is more of a craftsman when it comes to film, as opposed to other people who take it and they're like, yeah, flashy lights. All over the place.
Well, even after Nolan is going to be Affleck, he's going to take over. More than likely, he's going to direct the Batman, I guess, movie.
Yeah.
And so we go from Christopher Nolan, then we get Zack Snyder for a few movies, and then we're going to get Ben Affleck, who's obviously now an Academy Award winner for directing. So it's interesting to see how do you think he's going to have to keep the consistency with like how Zack Snyder is shooting it, like how Zack Snyder's style of shooting, or do you think maybe he's gonna mold over to his own?
His own, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, Batman v Superman looks completely different within the same world that is Suicide Squad, and I never thought I would say that. Here's Suicide Squad and here's Batman v Superman for me, knowing that I love Batman, but I think that seeing the tonal difference between the two movies, I think Affleck can do his own once it comes back to him.
Well, it just doesn't feel like the same world. It doesn't necessarily have to feel like the same movie so much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They just have to feel like they just fit into each other, and then you're basically good to go. And I mean, Affleck's tackled some kind of like some crazy out there things with Argo, and he's done kind of darker things too with stuff like The Town. So I think he could. Yeah. Oh my God, how did I forget about that one? So yeah, I think he could do it. It's gonna be interesting seeing him direct himself as Batman, because I don't think we've ever had a director play Batman before.
And direct himself.
Yeah. I'm curious how that's going to work out.
Be more brooding, Affleck.
Yeah,
more bad boys.
Footage.
Yeah. Well, just kind of talking about the MCU and Batman and everything, talking about franchises and universes. What do you guys think about, now a trend of, not every movie, but a lot of major blockbuster movies or movies that have source material are now being franchised or turning into universes. They even talked about turning Ghostbusters into a universe. So, Hollywood's talking about everything universe. Ghostbusters can be considered.
True. You got anything, Lindsey?
Yeah, when it works, go for it. You know, like some of this. I mean, you want to do a Fast and the Furious connected universe? I don't know what that means, but Fast and the Furious had fun with completely changing itself in the past, going from 4 to 5. So sure, why not? Let's see them do another dramatic switch and see what that does for them. But then you have other things like the talking about combining Sinister with the Insidious movies, and I'm like, what?
Why?
No, exactly. Why would you do that?
I mean, maybe if you had some interesting connection to combine them, that'd be cool. I mean, even if it was a cameo, but there's no need for it. Like, they don't really need to interact with each other.
What's next? Poltergeist and
yeah, just this whole cinematic horror universe. No, I think what was it? I know, and I believe that there was Call of Duty also. They're gonna come out with a movie. Really? And I love how now it's not announcing, yes, we're gonna make a movie. No, we're going to make a franchise. No, we're going to make a cinematic universe. It's like, how about you try to get a movie out first? Those are the ones that bother me. Like we said, when they earn it, they earn it. DC still, we're waiting to see if they will. Marvel has. And I love DC, but I can say Marvel has earned it. They have created this world.
Yeah.
Fast and the Furious with prequels, Die Hard with a prequel. What I don't get about those is that we know where the end result is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
John McClane. Am I saying it wrong? I feel like I'm saying the president. They're the runner-up.
Oh no, he wasn't president.
Yeah, he never made it there. But the whole idea, it's like, why are we gonna get a story when we know the most interesting part of his life happened in Die Hard? Everything else before that has to be more boring than Die Hard. Yeah. If we've already seen Vin Diesel fly a car from one building to another, knowing that that is the pinnacle of where they are right now, why do I want to see a prequel?
Well, along those lines, why do we need this Rogue One movie that they keep talking about, the Star Wars one, where it's like
where they're fighting a Death Star?
Yeah, like what's next? So we're gonna get the movie about how Indiana Jones found out where that idol was in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Like,
hey, I'm petitioning for that one, so shut your mouth, okay?
Of course, my apologies. I didn't mean to step on toes.
Well, in regards to Rogue One, you're right. Like, it's kind of like it's going to be a lot of build-up and a little bit of payoff because we already know what's going to happen. So we're just kind of like, what are the interesting situations they're going to be in before this happened? What are, like, it's really kind of like watching an episode of something as opposed to watching a movie. They'd be better off doing these in Netflix or something like that as opposed to full-on anthology movies. I like the idea that they want to branch out and do these kind of like, this is how this happened, this is how this happened. But yeah, you're right. It still would be considered a prequel because I don't know. The payoff I think is going to be light, kind of like with the Hunger Games that they had all build up for the second movie, and then the third one is just
yeah, whatever that was. Yeah. No, but I agree. Many of the times because they rely a lot on prequels rather than actually having something else to expand on, you know, like not being able to interact with each other. I like how, what was it, Men in Black wanted to interact with 22 Jump Street, I think it was. They wanted to cross them over or something like that. And many of those, like, they don't make sense. And when you rely on prequels to expand the franchise, you're left there going, well, this action scene, the person's clearly not in danger because I know that there's a whole nother 3 movies. You know, it's those things that make no sense.
Yeah, the Men in Black one, that came from the Sony leaks, I think, was when they found out that they're trying to do a crossover with that. And I think it's still being considered at this point. Like, they still want to do something, like they're trying to get, like, I can't remember the duo. It was a guy and girl instead of, like, you know, the 2 older guys. And it's just like, like you were saying earlier, they need to bring something new as opposed to just kind of extend what they already have. Like, I don't know. It's frustrating, to say the least.
You know, I'm not against the concept of a prequel. Like, the Star Wars prequels was a great idea. It just, you know, it was horribly executed and it didn't go anywhere. But, like, on paper, that was a great idea. Like,
until it fell through.
Exactly. Like, it completely just shat the bed and was terrible.
Yeah.
Like, that, it would have been cool to see the fall of the Republic and all these things that we saw referenced in the other Star Wars movies if they actually did add something. Sorry, what?
I mean, The Hobbit as well. I know you guys had you had a Hobbit podcast last time. The Hobbits were ones, in my opinion, a great way to tell the story or try to expand on it, but I felt they didn't really live up to it. I think that's one of the biggest things. When they try to extend, it never lives up to the original. Like, the original ones that they came out with. The prequels don't live up to those. A Hobbit doesn't live up to the original trilogy, and I think that's probably the worst part of it. When you make something mediocre, I think that's what hurts it the most.
With the Hobbits, you know, we talked about this last week, was one of the big issues was Guillermo del Toro leaving a year and a half after doing the pre-production, but they still had a deadline to meet. And that's another issue. It's like, Hollywood is still set on these deadlines. It is a business. I understand that they have to have these deadlines. There's a lot of promotion. There's a lot of confirmations on one date that they have to keep. But when something like that happens, a director leaves and another director comes in, they should give them enough creative time to get back on par with maybe what they want to do, as opposed to rushing them through the same schedule. And essentially what happened to the Hobbit movies is, you know, Peter Jackson said that he was winging it for most of it because, you know, they didn't. He'd come to the set not knowing what scene was going to happen, so they'd be going. It was crazy when you think about it, and then go watch. But that's another thing, is these hard deadlines, I think, sometimes are really what affect the end product sometimes too.
Agreed.
That they shot the original Lord of the Rings movies all back to back and at the same time to try and save time and all that stuff, right? Wasn't that part of it?
Yeah, but they also had like 5 years of pre-production too, so they had everything made before coming in. They had everything planned out, whereas this one, he came in and like got to a certain point and it was like all out of his own ideas. So they kind of were just like, okay, what are we gonna do today? What are we gonna do today? It's crazy if you think about it. A trilogy, a movie franchise that big, millions of dollars, and they're making it up as they go.
Stretching it out as well, considering it was from one book.
Yes. So
just like the Star Wars prequels, we don't necessarily need to know why all that stuff with Darth Vader. We don't necessarily need to know like what this one wizard was doing at this point in time. You don't need to spend so much time in the Hobbits building up to Sauron coming back, because we know that's coming. That's not a twist or anything for us. I mean, maybe do like one little thing or two little things, but you don't need to spend like over an hour over these 3 movies dedicated to Sauron's return to power and keeping it such a big secret the whole time.
So much fan service.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, it's the same part, like you said, when Gandalf when he saw Sauron and he got thrown against that wall, you're like, well, he's not going to die, so what?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How many times do we have that where we know they're not going to die and you're just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah. He's like, the CG's okay, I guess, but he's not going to die. I know that. And so, yeah, those storylines, the way they handle those, it's frustrating. Another thing I kind of want to move on to is box office, kind of relying on international box office. A lot of movies nowadays seem like they not only are made and catered to the international box office, which is fine. You know, we want to get more people to watch movies, but a lot of times movies rely on the international box office because they'll make a quarter of their money here and the rest of it there. I think Pacific Rim was probably the biggest one that I remember seeing that they didn't do very well at all domestically, and then until about a few weeks later when they released internationally, that's where it got it over its budget that they wanted, and that's how the sequel essentially was brought up because like we didn't think we were going to do it, but now the international box office saved you, so now we're thinking about it. So, I mean, what do you guys think of now our growing international box office, but do you think Hollywood's relying too much on it?
I think it helps them sometimes. You brought up Pacific Rim. RoboCop, the remake, had a lot of help over there. Terminator Genesis had a lot of help over there, and what else did we get? There was another movie that also got a lot of help because of the Asian market, because I believe China is the biggest one, second to America. Yeah. So they cater over there, and that's the perfect word to use. Iron Man has an entire scene that we did not get because the Chinese they were funded by China. So they had a specific scene with a specific actor that was only showed for them over there.
Wasn't it like a Chinese star too?
It was a Chinese star, yeah. So they got to see that part of them the same way that Transformers. The reason that they passed that billion mark so easily is because, man, they love their robots over there. They love them so much that they had the same thing. That's why there was that part in Transformers 4, which got snubbed for Oscars, where all of a sudden they end up, I believe it was in China, and they're like drinking advertisements for China. I don't know if you were like me sitting in the theater going, all of these advertisements mean nothing to us, but they've thought so far ahead for the Chinese demographic that, yeah, they're catering to it. And to some, I think it helps more the bigger blockbusters. The bigger blockbusters get a lot out of it, because even if you see, it sometimes causes controversy. If you guys saw the Star Wars poster, the new one.
I heard about it, but I didn't look at it. What do they include in that?
So you know how we had an incredible poster for Star Wars? It was all fine and dandy, but they decided, no, we got to switch some things around and take Boyega's character and make him as small as possible in order to attract more people who may not like African Americans in China. I'm going to laugh when they enter there and they realize that he's a major character, and then what are they going to do there? So, yeah, I think that's
terrible.
Well, the fact that international and Chinese help with the box office, do you think it's more or less that it's not always a great movie, it's just that they're so excited to see these certain things that are catered to them? It's not like, oh, they know what a good movie is. It's like, no, they're just excited to see these movies.
Like I said, Terminator Genesis. Yeah. I like the RoboCop remake, but still, when you look at the ones that make them the most money, it's not quality. It's robots. That's what it is.
And on the subject of just Terminator, not Terminator, Transformers. You're talking about all the product placement for China. Remember that part where they just randomly start talking about the Chinese government, like, oh, the central government will save us. What?
Hold on. Do you not remember The Martian as well? They had a certain point. I don't want to spoil it. Yeah. But what a deus ex machina that was, that it comes out of nowhere. Yes.
Well, I remember that. I was like, did we just sign a new treaty with China or something? I was like, what just happened here? I remember seeing that part. I was like,
I knew why that was in there. So I think it starts hurting it more. I'm fine with you having to make money overseas. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. But when you start having those moments where Transformers has like 20 minutes of product placement for China, when we're missing a scene out of Iron Man because it's specifically for China, and then again having The Martian have a specific thing just so it could be a nod for the Chinese audience, so for them to be like, yay, we helped. You know, that's when it starts, I think, affecting it, when it affects the story of the movie.
Yeah, you're right. And
Iron Man, like, I want to see that.
Hey, you gotta go to China, man.
On YouTube. You gotta go to China.
Yes, yeah.
Well, yeah, Art, you're right. It's when it comes down to affecting the product itself, like what's to stop like Germany and other countries start being like, okay, well we like movies too, so what if we gave you money and you start putting Volkswagens in all your movies now or something like that? It's like
Spectre.
Now movies. What's that?
Spectre did that with Mexico. Mexico said we'll give you so and so $1 million if you just have a scene with the Day of the Dead parade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for that too, but like to a degree, it's like, well, when are movies going to be like basically politics, where countries or people are buying certain scenes that they want or certain plot points in a movie? It's like when at one point where to stop, I guess.
Yeah. Be less art and be more of a product.
Exactly. Exactly.
The unfortunate side is like that's probably not going to go away. Like, especially in the big blockbuster market, like there's a reason why Avengers is going to cost $1 billion, and there's going to be a lot of product placement in that movie. Like, same thing with Batman v Superman. I can guarantee you that all those fancy cars at that fancy party, those are all there for a very specific reason.
It's funny because when you deal with superheroes and cartoons as well, the characters themselves are product placement. You have to go buy the toys afterwards.
That's true, actually. Yeah, that's very
about
true.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, even CP, he's chiming in. He said that even Pittsburgh, I guess maybe during Batman had or one of the movies is getting tax breaks. A lot of places do get tax breaks, like Toronto, and I think when I lived in Florida for a short period, I remember they had passed new law that would enable more movies to be made out there because they'd be a nice tax for those who did come out.
Yeah.
Which is fine too. I'm all for different locations and stuff. But then when it comes to a point like you're paying him, I want you to film in this so this place looks cool on to the world, I guess, like that. You're just paying for advertising your country at this point.
Dubai has done that. Dubai did that for Mission Impossible, and then Furious 7 was like, okay. And I was like, why? I was watching. I was like, why does this seem so? Oh, that's right. But Dubai's been making money off of that. They sponsor, and that's why Furious 7 had a specific Middle Eastern star in the movie as well. I'm telling you, it's all over the place now. As long as you don't notice it, I mean, if it's making the other audiences happy, I'm fine. But there are specific moments where it really affects the story. That's what I'm not fine with.
Or like a plot point. I guess it's just general product placement, not just like country stuff, but like when your Xbox One is a plot point for fighting your ghosts.
No. When your PlayStation 4 is what revives Chappie, then you have a problem.
Or you build a time machine out of your PlayStation. I think
no, it was when you was it Project Almanac. You help your Microsoft services.
Oh man, I remember seeing that. I was like, Jesus, isn't there worse than Sony and Oracle and all these other places and Transformers when they're trying to get their product placement in?
Good stuff.
That scene in Transformers where Mark Wahlberg just has a Bud Light and he
cracks it open.
That always, because the whole the truck nicely flipped over as well, and it glistens right. Oh man.
And then there's just Budweiser everywhere as far as
you hit that one sore spot. That is the one that I always go back to. Really? That to me is above World War Z with the Pepsi cans. And he just drinks some Pepsi, and there's zombies all over him.
It's a good time for Pepsi.
I forgot about the Zombieland one.
Well, we'll go into the last one that I have, and then we'll go to the topics that you guys brought to the table. The last one I want to go over was, forced actors or overpaid actors that have been sticking around for maybe a little too long. Actors that I guess who are hit and miss, but it's like at a certain point, it's like, when is Hollywood going to give up? We've seen many actors come and go, so it's like, what's the difference between these other ones? Like, I always go back to these guys, and people, will probably argue as well. It's like Robert De Niro, Al Pacino. Those guys fell into a habit of just mailing it in, and they're still probably getting paid. They obviously have great movies, but there's been a few recently that you're just like, man, they're just collecting a paycheck. But there's still movie actors like Leonardo DiCaprio getting $20 million a picture. Is this like, are we gonna see a $40 million actor? Are we gonna see a $50 million actor? Do you guys think it's gonna get higher and higher, or do you think they're finally gonna curb it at a certain point?
Well, Arnold Schwarzenegger got $30 million for Terminator 3, so I don't know what the roof is on this right now, but it's got to be high. Like, how much is Robert Downey Jr. costing?
I was about to say, did you know that he is the only one whose salary is not mentioned?
Oh, really?
That's how high it is. When they first announced it, what was the joke? They asked him, he's like, so do you know anything about the story? And they're like, well, no, none of us here except for the writers. And Robert. Like, he gets paid so much.
Wow.
It's insane.
Wow.
I mean, look at it. He was the one who decided, Ultron isn't Ant-Man's anymore. Ultron's mine. I like that storyline. Give it to me. And they said, okay.
He changed that plot line?
Yeah, he said it.
Wow.
Of course, that makes perfect sense. I never thought about that before, but that makes perfect sense.
That's why I went to him, because he's like, oh, I like that. This is Robert Downey Jr. He looked at the comics. He's like, what do I want for me? What is Iron Man going to do now? But,
who's this Batman guy? Can I be Batman in this movie?
Yeah. I like this. Can I start wearing a mask, please? No. I think that's. What's the movie that's coming out with Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence where there was this whole debate about how Jennifer Lawrence is getting paid $20 million and Chris Pratt was only getting paid like 15 or something, and
It's the one where like space, right?
yeah,
They get
the space one,
into-
passenger or something like that.
Okay.
And you know, obviously, there's groups that are way on one side, and they were like, "Yes, finally, that's equality." It wasn't that they were getting paid the same; it was the fact that she was getting paid more. Then I sat back and I said, "She's getting paid $20 million. Like, you should be happy, not this whole." Yeah, finally, women are getting paid 20. That's a lot of money. That is a lot.
It's not only the equality thing. I mean, she came out. She had like an article too about talking
Yeah, she
about
did.
the equality in Hollywood too, which is it's an issue on its own. Women
But
do
she
get
didn't
paid
complain.
less.
She
She
didn't
what?
complain as much as everybody else who feels that they should complain for her. That's what I find funny.
Well, of course.
Well,
that's how it
20,
always goes.
I can complain. You're getting 20.
Yeah. Right?
Is she still the highest paid? Is she still the highest paid actress in the world? I know she was for a second.
I
believe
think
so.
was Sandra Bullock for a short period after she won her Oscar.
Yeah,
I think she was
and
getting some
then
good paychecks.
That just sped away, but yeah. I'm pretty sure it's Jennifer Lawrence, still her. I mean, with $20 million for that movie alone, yeah.
That's impressive.
Well, Leo's getting 20 for the Revenant and all these other ones.
I think if you earn it though, that's a big thing. Like, well, I mean, you're looking at that. I saw The Revenant, and he earned it. Like the dude earned it physically. Then there are other things where it's like, I'm not saying voice acting, to put it down, but when you really look at it, if someone's just coming in and just doing some voice lessons, or more so when it's a very CGI role, if you're not doing an Andy Serkis where you're literally, becoming the character, if it's just your face, like Gravity was, where it was just capturing your face and then they CGI'd it onto the thing.
Right.
I think I could buy like 5 more actors and flesh out the cast a bit more.
No, you're right. You're right. Like if you're actually on screen the entire time, there's a bit of a difference. Again, not to discredit voice acting, because you got to get in all kinds of different positions, lying on the floor, standing up, do all these different things to get your voice to do the certain things. Not discrediting it, but like if you're actually throwing yourself down a hill and you get legitimately injured, I think there's a little bit more.
That's the other thing too. Now that you mentioned that, stuntmen, stunt women.
Yeah, stunt
like,
women deserve more. Yeah.
They do a lot, and compared to what the actors are getting paid. Specifically, I look at the one from Mad Max. The stunt woman, I feel bad for not remembering her name. She did Charlize Theron's character,
Okay.
Furiosa, and then she also does the one for Resident Evil. And for the new Resident Evil movie, she got in an accident.
Oh.
And I don't know if she came out of her coma or not, but it's like she does crazy stunt work. She shaves her head when she needs to. She does all of these crazy things. And it's like, well, how much does she get paid?
Probably peanuts. Probably almost nothing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Compared to what the actors are making? Yeah.
Yeah, compared to Mila Jovovich.
Well, I guess it goes back to like what I said earlier about the $20 million. That's kind of been the cap. Have we heard of anybody else getting paid? I mean, Robert Downey Jr., but that was kind of like the back end. But like, I guess like per picture, every time is 20. Like Cameron Diaz is doing that, Leo DiCaprio, I think Tom Hanks too, other people. But it's like, are we gonna get to a point where like it's kind of like the NBA? Are they gonna redo the CBA and they're gonna have $25 million now per picture or $30 million per picture? Like, I guess at what point, like you said, maybe it should come down to how much they're in the picture, how much they sacrifice themselves. Like there should be more than just like their branding, I guess. I know it's a big thing in regards to bringing people in, but also what goes into it too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I do like them spending this much money on the actors as opposed to like just more CG and more explosions and things like that. It's nice to know that they're willing to give like an individual person that much, like they're acknowledging the importance of the actor and stuff like that as over like more superficial things.
Or give it to the writer to try
that's
harder.
true.
Yeah.
That's true. Definitely. Yeah.
I'd rather have a good
10%, right? Like whatever the budget is. Like that's how it goes. Yeah. That could be a pretty.
Well, it depends, on the proposal and stuff. But again, I would rather have a better script than a really cool face on a bad movie.
That's true. Great casts sometimes can't even save terrible scripts. all too
Well,
often they can, actually.
Yeah, no, it really comes down to script, and it's just we go director, script, actor. If you get those three combination, everything turns out okay. But a lot of times we don't get that. But that was the topics that I had. I want to go and see if you guys had anything. What topics you had in regards to some Hollywood bad habits?
Yeah, take it, Art. You said you got one.
Well, I want to know if you got the same one as I do.
I want to talk about Jai Courtney.
Oh my God, he was totally in my unwanted list of actors.
Let me call my boy Tim from the Late Reviews. I believe he has a specific shirt for this that says "Defend Jai Courtney" or something. I agree with you, though. I agree with you. You've all seen Ed, Ed, and Eddie, right?
Yes.
You know Plank?
Yeah.
The piece of wood? That's Jai Courtney.
That's good. That's good. Wait, he's like the best character, though.
I'm talking acting-wise, the persona.
Oh, okay.
He wishes he can have the emotional range of Plank, but I agree with you. You want to stick on the Jai Courtney topic? To me, I actually prefer Jai Courtney over Sam Worthington.
Well, yeah, that's why I wanted to go with it. Like how there's always like every couple of years, like there's this new white guy that's just in every movie.
That they push to you, yeah. You brought up John Carter that had, and I even like him. What is his name?
Exactly. What's his name?
From Friday Night Lights. I liked him in Friday Night Lights.
Yeah, he's good there.
But then they tried to push him so hard. I can't believe I'm blanking on his name. But they pushed him in Battleship. They pushed him in John Carter. Yes.
Taylor
him.
Yes. Yeah.
And they tried, and I think he's a nice guy, but they pushed him so hard to the point that he just got regurgitated back. They're like, no, get him out of here. He's not going to make it. And Hollywood tried so hard to make him a star.
Jai Courtney's probably the nicest guy in the world. That doesn't mean I want to keep seeing him in movies. Like,
he's got that puppy face. I mean, in True Detective Season 2, he had that same face he had in Friday Night Lights, and I was like, you know why he has such a good face at that? Because he knew that he was rejected by Hollywood. He really feels it inside.
Well, going back to Sam Worthington, I had talked about him before, and it's like he was the first one, I think, of recent, where he's in Terminator Salvation, and then he got Avatar, and he was in Clash of Titans or whatever that was, and now he's still going to be in Avatar. He's still signed on to do Avatar 8, 9, 10, however many they're going to do. He's going to be in all of those. But Jai Courtney and Jason Clarke was the other one I came up with.
You like Jason Clarke?
Jason Clarke has his moments.
Yeah, I liked him in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. That was where I liked him the most. But everything else was like, I think they're pushing him.
He was really good but yeah, he wasn't so good in Terminator. What else has he been in? I always get him mixed up.
Everest. He was in Lawless. He was in The Great Gatsby. I think he's okay.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think he's like great. I know he can't lead something, but he's okay.
He's better than Jai Courtney. Like, I will take Jason Clarke over Jai Courtney any day.
Amen. Yes.
Well, Jai Courtney's in Suicide Squad too, but I mean he's the boomer. I forgot he's gonna be in the background, and hopefully he'll die in the first.
Yeah, he'll just leave, and then he'll come around for a little bit, and then he'll just leave again. That's what I hope they do to him.
Oh God, that'd be so cool.
You literally see him fly across the screen, just leave, come back. But,
he just throws himself out of the movie.
I would say mine, after the whole Jai Courtney talk, my bad habit of Hollywood, I think this is the worst one. I think it is worse than overpaid actors. I think it's worse than sequels and reboots. I think it's worse than over budgets, because you can have all those things and kind of make it good. Okay. But what ruins it is trailers that come out and spoil absolutely everything, meaning that the millions of dollars that you spent, those high-paid actors and all the hard work, was spoiled in 3 minutes. That's what I despise the most in Hollywood.
Yes. I don't know how I left this one off the list, but yes, this is definitely a huge one, especially with the Batman v Superman trailer. And I think the one that I thought was the worst probably was the Jake Gyllenhaal boxer movie that came out. They came out with like a 4-minute trailer that was like, I might as well watch that. I just watched the movie.
And the worst part was that I remember hearing about it, and I got warned, and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do it. And I went 2 months. But of course, they got to pitch a movie 6 months before it comes out. I go to the theater all the time. How am I supposed to avoid this bad boy? So I thought that I had avoided it. I'm coming in, and I got food with me, and I go, oh, shoot, it's on. I had nowhere to go. And I had to watch the trailer. And that big spoiler in the trailer, completely ruins it when you're finally sitting there going, I know what's going to happen to this character. It stinks.
Yeah, And then like Terminator Genesis again spoils what could have been a crazy.
Spoils that big thing.
Like, and then Batman v Superman. It goes all the way back to Castaway. I don't think that one will ever be forgiven. You give away the fact he gets off the island. I mean, I know the movie should be more than the twist.
It should, but it still ruins. Like, let's not forget. To me, one of the biggest things was for The Dark Knight Rises, when you see in the trailer when they're fighting in the snow. So when his back is broken and he's down below, I'm just like, bet you fight in the snow. I think giving those big action sequences away kind of stays engraved in your mind.
Yeah.
So when you're watching the movie, you're like, I'm just waiting for this scene.
Or
I don't know.
Amazing Spider-Man, where they give away the final shot.
Everything. You heard about when the first Amazing Spider-Man came out? A dude took the trailer and put the whole movie out there and got sued by Sony, and he said, I didn't do anything wrong. You literally put that out there with all the featurettes, all of the trailers, and all the TV spots. That was hilarious. The movie had not come out yet, and the dude pieced it all together.
That is oh, I did see that!
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes! Oh my god, I completely forgot about that!
And did they listen to him? No, because they did the same exact thing with the second for the second movie. And let's not forget that the second movie had the final shot with him slinging the thing.
And people are obviously waiting for that fight with Rhino.
And you know what scares me more? That Trinity scene in the Batman trailer looks really cool. But tell me, I don't know if you guys are like me, are you worried that that's the final shot? Because that technically is Dawn of Justice.
That's what I thought too, because I was like, the scene doesn't match up with whatever Doomsday was shooting at Batman and like her blocking. I was like, that doesn't match up. Those aren't the same scenes.
If that's the final scene, guys.
Yeah.
Wait, so like that's the final shot of the movie, or like the movie ends when Doomsday shows up? You mean?
No. I think that's the final shot of the movie.
Also, they beat Doomsday, and then there's that shot.
Yeah. So then it's just them going like, we defeated him, and then hey, look, Dawn of Justice. Let's insert the title and the end credits. Tell me you would not be ticked off.
I will be very ticked off.
Now, the only reason I've been hearing that the only good, I guess, reason people have been saying why they've been doing this is because, yes, they know that we are going. They know that we, as fanboys or moviegoers, are going, but they need to get Joe Blow out there who just watches football.
That's a lie, though.
But I know.
Star Wars didn't do it.
Exactly.
Star Wars didn't do it, and it worked.
And you have Batman and Superman in the title. I don't think you need to give away all this. Tickets are sold.
It's not Batman v Superman anymore. It's Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman versus somebody else. The V's pointless now.
That's true, actually.
Yeah, think about it.
It should have commas and then the.
Like what we were saying, now we're going to go into it. We're going to see them fighting going, you guys are going to get together. Just make up.
Yeah, it's basically like you said. All we know, we know the whole movie at this point, and we know that Doomsday. I'm guessing Doomsday is going to be at the end, and I assume that's going to be like a throwaway at this point. He's going to be the last like 15 minutes, and they're going to defeat him, and then hey, Dawn of Justice.
Fantastic Four vibes. I hope not. That whole fight just rushed at the end. You know what hurts it more though? Like the blockbusters, I think is a big deal, but I think it hurts indie movies the most. Yeah. Room, I think, is one of the best movies of the year. Yeah, but if you see the trailer, you're done. I went into it having like Men in Black'd it out of my mind because I saw it such a long time ago. I sat down and it was an experience. Mm-hmm. I come out and my theater has like a TV that's showing you all the trailers, and I'm like, what?
There it is.
It's all there.
Yeah.
Beginning, middle, and end.
Well, just kind of jumping back, as CP was saying, for trailers, especially the Amazing Spider-Man 2. They cut a lot of trailers out that are like plot points that presented in trailers, and you don't see them in the movie at all. Like the meeting between Peter and Harry Osborn. You know, just talking across the desk. That was never in the movie, but it was like a 30-second part of the trailer. It's like, well, why? Where's that? Why isn't that in?
Where was the thing being dropped out of an airplane in the Fantastic Four?
Exactly.
That was the coolest shot in the trailer. Where did that go?
It's like, no, that's not there. We don't need it. Scrap it.
No, you did. You desperately needed it.
You needed a lot more than just that shot, though.
They need all of it.
Yeah. Very true, but
yeah, the trailers, they've been real bad lately. And you're right. I mean, the Star Wars and Batman, they don't need to give too much away because everybody's familiar with them. Even other blockbusters like in the MCU, DC, other ones, they don't need to really give away too much, but I guess, like you said, Hollywood's thinking of, well, they need to reach as many people as possible, so let's dumb it down. And meaning dumbing down, meaning give away as much as possible.
Did you guys ever see the trailer or something like that for Winter Soldier that spoiled that Winter Soldier was Bucky, but then was like gone? Like I saw it twice, and then I never saw it again, and I've never been able to find it online. It's like this weird shot of it, like pans up from his boot, you see his face. It was like there for a minute.
Oh my God. I kind of knew that he was though. Like,
oh yeah, but still, like
I agree. You shouldn't have to show it. The Batman v Superman. We know they're gonna get together,
right.
but just let us believe that they're gonna have a really cool fight. Not ruin it.
Well, not only that, we still have 4 months until this movie comes out. If this trailer came out like 3 weeks before, maybe I wouldn't have been so upset. I'd be like, okay, we're pretty close. We're gonna get some more info, but we're 4 months away. They're probably gonna put out at least 2 more trailers, I think, or at least 1 more. So what else are they gonna show? Yeah,
using the TV spots.
Exactly. So we're gonna get multiple, another at least 1 or 2 trailers. So it's like, well, they were already giving us away enough in this trailer. What are we gonna get? Probably, I'm hoping it's just rehashed scenes from previous trailers. I don't want to see any more because that's what Star Wars has done.
Right.
Star Wars is kind of, we didn't get anything and then we got a lot, and now we're getting there's like 8 TV spots now. Like every day I feel like there's a new TV spot for Star Wars, like a new scene, a new plot device. I'm like, I don't want to know at this point. Like I just want to go to the movie and see what it's fucking about without TV telling me.
I'm amazed that Abrams is letting so much of this happen because he's usually so secretive. But I mean, I guess
he is. There's so much he can do as well.
That's true.
But he has done an awesome job with it. I'll give him that. He's done an awesome job with it. And I think Abrams is really good at doing that. I know a lot of people aren't fans of Cloverfield. I am. And I loved how hidden it was. And you sit there and you go, what the heck is this? I loved it.
The market.
Yeah, I liked it.
I like movies like that where you can go in and experience it. That's cool to me.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's just like it's nice when it's good. Like it's a good experience.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not bad.
Oh no! I mean, like Star Trek Into Darkness, like they hit a lot of stuff, but then you're like, oh, this that they hit isn't that good. But
I don't know. That con scene was almost as cringeworthy as the Darth Vader no scene at the end of
Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
But at the same time, keeping secret that Spock's in Star Trek 2009, that was pretty awesome. When suddenly Leonard Nimoy's in the cave and you kind of just freak out, like.
Yeah, those are good surprises when you don't know at all that they're coming. You're just like, oh, what the hell? Like in the movie, you're like in the moment, as opposed to like, okay, so they're probably gonna show up at this point. Well, I saw them in this scene, so they're definitely gonna show up in the next 30 seconds, probably. Like you're already in your head. You don't want to, but you're already piecing together what you saw in the trailer, what people have speculated. So. Yeah, it's a never-ending game.
Agree.
Well, guys, do you have any other topics or anything you want to go over?
Well, nah. Trailers was my big one, and I think you covered the rest.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I got to smack Jai Courtney once. I'm good.
Hey, I'm glad you brought that up because I totally forgot I wanted to bring him up. I had him like Jai Courtney. I think Kevin Hart. I like Vin Diesel, but I think Vin Diesel's just like. Come on, man. You know where your niche is. To stay there because the Witch Hunter or the last Witch Hunter didn't do so well. I think Ben needs to realize his bread and butter is just a franchise.
Yeah.
You've got more Riddick movies coming out, so he's not stopping anytime soon.
Never ending updates from Facebook from Vin Diesel. That's one thing he's really good at is updating his Facebook and telling people that shit. Well, if we don't have anything else to go over, then we can probably come to an end on this episode, the Hollywood Bad Habits. I do want to thank you guys for being on this episode. Going to have you on for other ones as well. We are going to be doing a Star Wars one. I was telling Lindsey earlier that I'm going to try to do a Star Wars reaction video with some people maybe on next Saturday. Maybe just those who got tickets for Thursday or Friday. We'll see what everybody thought about it on a nice live chat. You guys go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you online. So, Lindsey, where can everybody find you?
Oh, well, just on YouTube at My Two Cents of Nonsense and on Twitter at Lindsey Pank. And if you check out my channel and you're down, I'm doing a huge Star Wars project where I want people to try and chime in and give their own opinions on things. So if you're down, let's have some fun.
Definitely. I'm pumped to do that. Like I said, when do you need to get those videos in? When do people need to get them to you?
I said the 10th, but I'm pushing that back. So just if you see the thing and you want to give me something, just give it to me.
He's going to get one next year, like in March. Like, what the heck is this?
Well, everybody do. Excuse me, I'm going to do my own. So I'll be sending that in. So hopefully everybody else can start chiming in on that too. Art, let everybody know where they can find you as well.
I'm Art from TheAtoZShow. That's ATZ Show. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those bad boys. But of course, YouTube. There I have a show with reviews. Weekly, I gather up all the movie news that you need to know, so you're not on those clickbait articles. But Cineclash as well. It's a weekly movie trivia thing that I do. Both of these gentlemen have been on. They've been awesome on it. And I do have the Cineclash Winter Tournament, which is called Winter Clash, which is coming up. The cool thing about it is that it's all about movies from 2015. And it's going to be a tournament to see which movie reviewer on YouTube, possibly your favorite, has the most cinema knowledge for the movies that came out in 2015. So that's the big project that I have coming forward. But thank you for having me on. Definitely check out both of these guys. They're both awesome as well.
Well, nice. Yeah, definitely being on that show. It can be nerve-wracking, but it's a huge amount of fun as well. So I definitely love being on there, and everybody should check that out as well. Now, as for me, you can find me on YouTube at Circuit Time Review, my Twitter at Circuit Time, also Instagram at Circuit Time Review Pics. But I'll be continuing doing these podcasts again. They're going pretty well. I'm really having lots of fun, actually, so I'm excited to do more. Like I said, we'll be doing a Star Wars one next week. I'll probably doing an MCU versus DC one following that, so we'll try to get a couple more people on, maybe have multiples on for that one episode. But yeah, thanks everybody for checking out this video, either live or watching it afterwards. Really appreciate you chiming in and checking it out. Check in next week. Follow me on Twitter. Find out when the next episode is, and be excellent to each other.